he knows. Well, how could crime be solved when the big boys them involved? I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, 'cause they corrupt and it hurts me. I'm hurt when I see the poor suffering down here now even more. They thought conditions would be better. No, they wonder why they stain their finger. Living hand to mouth, there is no way out. Support us or not, just like me, they are hurt. Now you have to lament that you cannot save 1 cent. It hurts me to see the neglect we get from the government. Those who put you up there, for them you ain't show no care. I'm hurt, oh yes, Lord, I'm hurting. You ain't strike one note to boost economic growth. I'm hurt, oh yes, Lord, I'm hurting. Because of your blunder, a woman consider selling her body to feed her poor family while you sipping champagne. Man, you're leaving me in pain. I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt. You treat us like dirt and it hurts me. I'm hurt when I see natural resource that we once produce, now we import. We get bananas from Suriname. Next we might import dashing and yam. I could remember they said agriculture they would not neglect. Yes, they would resurrect. No farmers crying out and no one taking heed. I wouldn't surprised to survive that they might start planting weed. No reward for their toil, so they give up on this soil. I'm hurt, oh yes, Lord, I'm hurting. We need the soil to survive, yet you wouldn't subsidize. I'm hurt, oh yes, Lord, I'm hurting. And when comes election, the same politician would suddenly remember the neglected farmer, and his brain would then flop, and he might then vote them back. I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt. I've got sad thoughts, and it hurts me.
have a message to some of the young fellas. Those with ambition of becoming big drug dealers. This idea of big money is nothing new. All convicts and criminals thought so too. may seem to reap the fruits of success, but believe me, the straight and narrow is best. Law must establish jurisdiction overall. Yes, I think on retribution no man never escape from, and since the beginning of time it never failed.
Never fail, never fail.
99 days for the drug dealer, 99 days for the money launderer. One day for the Lord. Believe it, one day when your time comes, I hope your heart is strong, because you can't outrun forever the long arm of the Lord. Love-y-doy, love-y-ay, love-y-doy, love-y-doy, hey. Yeah. Lead-a-day, da-da-doy, la-da-day, da-da-day, hey. We have seen the fall of many notorious gangsters, secured by their gunmen and murderers. Many do the thugs have passed this way, who never lived to enjoy one peaceful day. Every man is part of a bigger plan. That's why when you eliminate another man, any day, anytime your past must catch up to you. On a quiet night on the street, a bullet with your name on it. Somebody you did wrong, come back for you.
Back for you, back for you.
99 days for the gangster, 99 days for the gunslinger. One day for the Lord. Believe it, one day when you think yourself, boom, right there in your face, you can't outrun forever the long arm of the Lord. Alamiday, 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 alamiday. Lead a day, like a day, da, da, day. Yeah. Justice makes no exception for corrupt politicians who think they can get away with doing wrong. And political people should understand, every government is just for a time. At some point in time, power must change hands. Boy, at some point an investigation. So when you are in power, make sure you put your house in order. Remember, baby dog had to run. Saddam could not run, because whatever goes around must come around.
Goes around, come around.
99 days for politricksters, 99 days for the wrongdoers. One day for the Lord. Believe me, that day you think you conquer, your sudden fall comes out of nowhere. No man can outsmart forever the long arm of the Lord. Alamiday, love-y-ay, alamiday, love-y-ay. Yeah. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop.
night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'll be here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. And your tonight program might end up going. I have a good feeling we might be going past the 10 o'clock.
Political songs like we have an ulterior motive.
So the husbands who usually meet me, call me, message me, and complain that the wife ain't coming to bed at 10. She might be a little late tonight. I'm telling all you earlier. Make your TT and go in bed, eh, Papa?
Write some sweet lyrics, so I don't know where they get the stinking idea from. Hey, somebody tell
Young Song!
me to rap with Young Song. I'm in real love, I know what is going on. They could leave me out from semi-final. That will never stop me at all. I'm in real
Good night to our local listeners, our regional listeners,
So give the
our outer national listeners.
devil take the ground. Up the Paris set. So they make a big man wet. They say that we ain't good. We can need that yellow food. Hey. Wow to them. It was disrespectful. But they label it, man. I'm a real bad man. It's all a show off.
And indeed, folks, don't forget, you see a lady donation thing up. Some people tell me they doesn't be able to see it. I'll leave it up on the screen now, eh? Nice.
Ministry when he was in charge of culture. And he gave them
So
straight
if you have not yet donated for Talking Points, yes, we're looking for your donations.
for me. Cause if the weekend, well, I made the most money. Because when I roll up to me, nice clean Toyota, I drop people all over. Collect US dollar. They never make Burberry roll under my queen car.
Never.
Somebody tell this banger wrong. A mistake he make to with Young Song. I'm in real love. I know what is going on. I want him to
Let me say goodnight to the Koi family out there in Carriacou.
I'm in real love. I know
My wonderful, beautiful cousins.
take them people land and try to be love bus stand. Then you
I know it go.
with some big badge and when puzzle bully barricade, you fly up in a rage.
Also the Duncan family out there in Carriacou.
Got you ignorant
And the Lawrence family. All my cousins.
for the wrong things. Wrong man to deal with. I'm a real bad man. I know some people will never like the fire that I'm spitting out.
And it's now 13 minutes after the 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
As when scholar running up,
We're saying goodnight to all of the YouTube listeners, all of the Facebook listeners. Mr. Handsome, good night to you. The Geezer, good night, my brother.
according to the
He's out there in the UK listening to the program
they don't give a damn.
after 1 a.m. in the morning.
Listen, I don't pay anything, so nobody cannot tell me what the
Good night to you, Mommy George.
Why keep me just selling passport?
Hey, what's taking place with the internet, David?
I'm in real love. I know what is going on. No passport selling more than ramen shop. I don't hear nobody talking about that. I'm in real love. I know what is.
Just making sure we hit the magic number before we get into the discussions for tonight. Yeah.
Need that the prime minister.
I ain't find I reach where I need to reach yet.
No one is afraid to talk. Right now I go say it plants all your hypocrite mother boy. Ah. Hell collect real CBI money boy. But I get most of it outside there. I like about to say he's in Dubai. You see right now? Out and bad.
I'd like to congratulate all of you who made it out to the NNP Connect last night out there in Chantamel. Indeed, it was a wonderful one. No, Shetland didn't make it. No, yeah, he tried, but he couldn't make it. Nah, after the day I had yesterday and that kind of traffic and thing I bounce up.
This country getting out of hand.
Yeah, and you all may not have heard it. I think I hit the button in time. Yeah, one of those planes leaving. Yeah, it's been a busy day on the airport today.
The problem is people like you, surely.
Grenada saw a visit from the president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
You don't look that far into the future.
Acting President, Excellency Delcy Rodriguez.
Along country, not knowing you have to pay for what you did yesterday.
And stranger, no official announcement came until after 10 minutes to 11 last night.
This is what you teach. Dishonesty is a big problem.
Although having spent quite a while around the airport yesterday, I kind of figured out what was going on when a plane came with the two armored vehicles for her. Kind of figured out what was going on.
What you get, you go take.
And then when I saw the officers down there doing the practice for the Guard of Honor, yeah, I kind of knew something was going on, yeah?
Yield to the pleasures of this world.
Then when I saw the various military personnel around from the Venezuelans, yeah, I kind of figured out what was going on.
Find a wife.
What you get, you go take.
You all just made it official with the release last night.
You won't have the hungry.
And I think to an extent, folks, you could understand why, in the present context, that you would have that release coming out that late. So I've given them a little bly on this one. In the context of you have the Venezuelan president who is in a very tenuous situation that decided to come to Grenada at that point in time. Yeah, we know what the political situation is in Venezuela at this point in time. We ain't forget what happened in January, so we know that it is a tenuous situation in Venezuela at this point in time. So it's not something you go out there and you publicize. Yeah, they're coming, that's why I could have come on and say something and didn't do it, no?
Say you fighting the struggle, TV and computer. Your babysitter. You are independent lady. Working.
Probably they thought that program last night to put it after 10.
It's your priority. Girl,
But as a good friend of mine said to me, expect to hear very soon some announcements in relation to oil and gas and Venezuela and Grenada, and then you will hear an election announcement right after that. That's what a good friend of mine tell me.
come back home.
So while you understand that and you expect that, are you ready?
Your children, you don't have time. You know that you
A super way.
crime.
What you get, you go take.
Yeah, and all them Lucians jumping up. Hey, he talking Creole.
Alcohol and drugs.
A super way.
You buy a big
Are you ready?
thing on Facebook and on Twitter.
When I see you and I say a super way, you have to tell me, yes, we ready.
Just get you. Some don't have a fun.
Well, there goes another jet again. Yeah.
What you get, you go take.
They go eat, drink, make no mistake. And if they get a smoke, they're going to take.
That's the talk now. A super way. Anytime you meet another NNP, we saying it that way. A super way. Nice. We fixing this place. We going back to we Creole.
Unemployment rising high. The skilled and unskilled workers start to cry. And economists reveal that we in a recession still. The government not hiring. Private
Yes, Moko, we did not need to know.
decline. Treatment.
But what we do need to know is what the discussion settled on. Was anything settled on? Or was it just discussions? Was anything firm decided on, and what benefits are the Grenadian people going to gain? Because we do understand that you're talking about a country that the United States was in conflict with just a few months ago, Just a few months ago. To the point of going in there and taking the president, which is why the present individual is the president of Venezuela. We have heard some positive reviews from the United States over the past few months and so, but you know, you never know what,
Industry.
Sometime in political circles, it is good to remain silent,
When a man can't feed the family, that
And I'm saying that because former Prime Minister of Jamaica, P.J. Patterson, said silence cannot be misconstrued or misquoted,
house while you sleep.
If I ain't say nothing, you cannot say that I said, and you can't misquote me and say, well, I said that and I didn't say that, or I didn't say anything. So you can't misquote me when I didn't say anything. There's nothing to quote, And folks, we're going to take some of your phone calls early up, because what we're going to be doing a little later on, we have a lot of clips that we have to get into, and we have a lot of details that we have to get into.
Sex and vice going to ruin their lives.
So yeah, I can never on that one. Yeah, I could understand why you couldn't say anything until the last minute. Unlike them, we know how to be reasonable. If it was the shoe was on the other foot and was the NDC, and the president had come in the way that she came in there, you'd hear all sorts of conspiracy theories, you'd hear all kind of thing, you'd hear the plane was loaded with suitcases of money to buy the Grenada election. You would hear all kind of thing. We ain't like that. We understand why there was a necessity for her to come in the way that she came in, yeah? And understanding that the people of Venezuela are our brothers and sisters. In fact, there are many Grenadians living in various parts of Venezuela. There are many Venezuelans living here in Grenada, and there are historical ties between our countries over the centuries, not just now, centuries, yeah?
The government not hiring, private sector downsizing, construction decline, treatment on the breadline. But when you see the devil find work for idle people, then the government will go be damage control.
And in a while we'll be getting into the CCCI.
He waiting for election.
And what they had to say in response to several statements have been made by the Prime Minister over the past, well, not even just the past few months. It got more vitriolic over the, go to our dictionary. It got more vitriolic over the past few weeks and couple months, but previous to that, he has been making statements in and between, not just attacking CCCI, but also attacking other local contractors like Gilbert Construction and some of them, even not only the local, Hanover as well. A lot of the other contractors have been getting some flack from the office of the Prime Minister as the Minister of Infrastructure.
Invest in pitbull and fencing, they rob in your house while you're sleeping. What you get, you will take.
By and large, what he has been saying, when you go back, what he has been basically saying is that local contractors don't make sense. It make no sense working with local contractors, bringing in the foreign contractors. Yeah, but there are some political caveats to bringing in those, well, I nearly say political, yeah, but those contractors from other countries, huh? And you have to be very careful who you do bring in at the end of the day. You want to be very, very careful with that, huh?
There we go.
So as I said, I'm giving a few minutes for you all to call if you want to raise anything now, because when you see 8:30, I'm locking off the phone line and we're going straight into clips and discussion, eh? I'm saying it again because I know some people just make their head out and try to call when I say hold on, eh? When I start to play clips, I ain't taking call. So I'm giving a few minutes now for you all to call, and you can call 421-7279.
Now so many things I will.
And 440-7377, but you can only call us on both numbers on WhatsApp, which means you've got to save them to your device and then you can call us, yeah?
About an ex-prisoner escape.
In the case of the 440 number, you will have to put the plus sign 1473 before it. So you save it as plus sign 1473 440 7377. Also, for those of you looking to donate to the show, yeah, they pay as you go. Not pay as you go. They pay. You could tell how old I is. The Go to Fed site where you go and you pay for tickets and so on. You can also go there and you can make a payment to Talking Points there. So the link is up on the screen. Yes, you can see it up on the screen to that's my right hand side or my left hand side, because I think most things inverted otherwise. Yeah, now let me raise my hand. Yeah, that's the right hand side. You see it right there? Yeah, that thing right there. That is the thing to make the payment. This thing right here. Yes, you can go there and you can make your safe payment to us at Talking Points. Yeah.
Transformation in we mass. You only looking out for the upper class. Transformation.
Yeah, it's a donation, huh? Yeah, nice.
If the poor ones are doing grass.
So whether it's $50, it's $100, whether it's $20, whatever you can give, we look forward. So folks, hit the like button and share the program, yeah? You gotta hit the like and share. As I said, we're gonna get into that discussion. It's gonna be a lengthy one. So I was just giving a chance earlier for those who have to call. Get out the system, you understand? Good night to you, Camille Teresa Scott.
Friend and family turn me enemy.
Yeah, Camille, I haven't heard you for the last 48 hours. Dying sitting right with me, eh?
Hotel making last suggest. But then I remember a
most likely you're listening. I know the grandchildren have you busy, and I like that, yeah?
Love the same white boy
I love that.
in the night. But just remember the local.
Them grana can be busy.
Treat them right, don't leave them balling. Leave them out loose. Oh God, baby, Jesus is up the blows. Grenadians balling. Leave them out.
So as I said, we're going to get into the discussions on the CCCI release. But before we do that, let's just take these messages. Yeah, no, not from our sponsors. We doesn't take money from any of these people. Yeah, these people are just get to. Let me take a call first, man. Yeah, let's take a call first. Hello, good night.
Good night, Mr. Jell Scott.
Diane sitting right with me here you for 48 hours. A check-in time, you know.
And there, boy, this train and around me busy and tired and I'll be tough.
Oh gosh, I know. I see
Oh
that.
God, the nice, the loving, the nice. Grandma. Grandma, I love you, Grandma. And they're bringing me all about, oh God, we need a good night, everybody. Miss Madison, good night.
I see you make beach and all. They bring you on the beach.
Well, watch. Shelan, I will go along on my place and then my son, my grandchildren come. I close up. I can't say no. They bringing me go on the beach. Well, yes, they put me to sleep. They say I have to relax. Inside of me, I can't say nothing. I say, I can't even talk. Before I go to sleep, boy, I want to. Lady, close up, let's go. We're going. They leave in my bag when I say, you put me bag in the van. When I think the bag there in the van with the keys, they leave it, they lock it, you know. I can't go to open the shop, you know. Hey, bonjour.
I love it.
Yeah. We're going to church. They bring me in place where I don't even know. I didn't even know. This place in Grenada, you know, because I doesn't go nowhere. When I think I coming home last night, we went to church. They go down in a place. Daddy something, some place. You gonna eat food. I think it's in True Blue.
Lovely.
They had people singing and Grenadian also. If you want to see woman that on in the husband and man that on in the woman, the white.
You're selling
You
us
have to
out?
go in that body dark how the place name.
Come you want to
I
sell
don't
us out?
They were selling you out because me eyes open to see what I see down there. You know. I see all kind of people. Yeah, man.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I
and they're
don't know if
going
the
back
last time I went.
anytime. This children and them like the beach. They love the beach. They're going from one beach to the next. From one beach, grandma, grandaunt, BBC, all about. They love Grenada.
Yeah.
Anyhow, good night to everybody. Good night to Patty and Matthew. Dr. Mitchell, good night. All the Talking Point family, good night. Miss Evelyn Pierre, good night. I just did. I can't refuse the going on the beach, going around the country.
No. Take it, Cam. You enjoy
Driving me all
yourself.
over.
You deserve it. Enjoy
What?
yourself.
14 years I didn't see my son, you know. And I always pray and ask God, I say, Papa God, you go bring them when I'm dead. And the child just appear. And the man don't want me to walk, he only holding me as I could walk. He holding me and we are going killing pony because I won't fall. He holding the mother. Everybody thinking, that's my mom. You don't come in Grenada, you want nobody tell him not now what his mother. So he has some nosy one. That lady always making noise. He says since I'm in she belly, she making noise. Yes.
But the outer order,
Yeah.
I could go and tell him that the outer
The
order.
outer order too much. And it's a
Fast.
wasn't to me, you know. Hey. Yeah, man. And they like the bush tea. First time I see white children like bush tea. Hey.
Boy.
You know, I
Yes,
think
indeed.
they want the cereal, they like the bush tea children.
Cleansing.
They like the gushti. Love your children because you never know, children. Take care of them. Because look at me. Hey, Bojo. That's the best days of my life. Because from me house in the terminal, I'm going all place in Grenada that child bring him mother. All place, me coffee in bed. Again, me coffee in bed, you know. Children.
I say you deserve it. You're supposed to get that.
When I don't get me coffee, then me breakfast. Hey, boy, God is good. God is good. Yeah. Anyhow, I just want to say, let me pray. Grenadians, put our hearts and heart together and talk to God to get delivered from these evil people in Grenada, Caracas, We got to pray. We have to pray for this little country. This morning, I heard a lady call the radio, one of our radio station, and speak about she don't get money for months. They working and they don't get money. And if all you Grenadians go and put back these people in power, all you go eat the bread the devil need. I'm telling all you, some of you pray to speak. You have to speak. You have to talk out. Don't take all your debts like gold. I don't owe already. I live a good life, and I thank God for that. And a lot of y'all young people taking bribe. All you go eat the bread the devil need in this country. If all you don't do the right thing. Make sure all your name register and pray and ask God that you make the right decision when they call that election. Because they're lying. They're lying. Why I don't like when you playing clip to that man and some of the ministers.
You have to hide your face tonight.
I don't want to watch their face. I does not listen to nothing. Whatever to be in Grenada, let it be. I'm a believer. And what I believe, that NNP go win the election. Who want to say they're afraid? I don't afraid. Grenada can't go and pick him up is in the hands of the Almighty God. Sheldon.
Yes,
and that is what I believe in. I'm going with that. And I don't pray them. There's nothing they could do to me, Scammy. Nothing. Have a good night, darling.
All right,
Continue praying. Continue praying.
All the time.
Talk to your father. Tell him what you want. Tell him what we want, Grenadians. Some of them are too mine and they're taking bribe. I don't want nothing from nobody. NNP and NNP. Have a good night, Grenadians. I love you all. I want to say good night to my children and my grandchildren. The 5 of them and all my grands in America, England, all about. And my children can't tell me, don't talk politics. I don't make them. I respect them, but I don't want nobody tell me not knowing your suck. Have a good night.
Good night to you, Cabby. All right.
Yes, darling.
All right. Yes, indeed, Miss Kiami. You understand. So, all right, folks, we're gonna get into it now. We've passed the 8:30 hour, so we're gonna get into it now. Let me just let me just start to play trying to get this on here. Come on, play. Nice.
Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Look no further than the chameleon design.
Oh boy, you see the same thing I say, eh? When I'm about to get into it, they go call. All right. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, calling.
Yeah, sure. How are you doing, man?
You gotta make it extremely quick because we was
Yeah,
to cut the
quick,
calls
yeah.
by 8:30. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Sheldon, in April month, and June, we're going to be 4 years in this going on in the office. And we're Sheldon, we looking to see what this government did for the 4 years in the office. So many promises are made to the people that can compete mathematic. And Sheldon, this government is a big failure. promise made, but promise don't not keep the promise. Only thing that the government succeed in, the ministers, enriching themselves on the back of the poor people. So even though they got transformation, it is transformation for the pocket. But the poor people, life is not better, Shannon. Poor people catching and the suffering under this administration as the any government that ever passed. This I could say this government is anti-poor people. They don't care about the poor people. Work around you and we the greater people. Don't fall for the promises again, because they're not promising you and they fulfill 3/4 of the promise, they fulfill one. So you have to make a mistake, and next election, make sure you get registered to vote and to vote out. This NCP group of people in governance who don't have people, already love is themselves and the pocket and living a lavish life, or the poor people in like a computer matter. So Sharon, have a blessed night.
All right, thank you very much, caller. Yes, indeed, folks, and let's just get into this. Yeah, all right, so we end for the calls for now. We're closing off on calls for now, and let's get into this one.
To take your brand to the next level, look no further than the Chameleon Design Studios, the creative powerhouse behind Key Central and dozens of standout brands across Grenada and beyond. From web designs, animations, and motion graphics to custom video productions, we bring your visions to life with unmatched efficiency and professionalism. Need a logo? Logo design starts at just $1,500, and our starter pack includes brochures, call cards, and letterheads. Whether you're launching a new business, revamping your identity, or telling your story visually, Chameleon Design Studios is the new face of designs. Call us now at 1473-422-8601 or scan that QR code. Follow us on Instagram at chameleon_473. Let's communicate. Call us today.
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD contents with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand. You can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. We certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite companies. Our product speaks for itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com.
Get ready to level up your workout game with Following Fitness. Join renowned trainer Lincoln the Goose Jones for an electrifying fitness experience that includes aerobics, exercise, weight training, strength training, and much more. Join the fitness revolution at the Tag-Team Netball Court and the Old Trafford playing field every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Unleash your inner strength and groove to the beats of DJ Killer Sound while you sweat it out. Affordable pricing, just $65 per month or $30 per class. For more information, call 410-3711. Don't miss out on this chance to transform your fitness routine. Level up today with Follow Me Fitness.
Yes, indeed, folks. So we're back, and indeed, yes. So CCCI, yeah. Over the past few months, as I've mentioned before, the Prime Minister has been making several statements accusing not just CCCI, he has also been accusing other contractors who were doing projects on behalf of the government of Grenada of delaying the projects and making excuses. When in truth and in fact, the Prime Minister, in specific as Minister of Infrastructure, and his ministry are the main fault that the projects have not been completed or progressed much further than where they have been for quite a period of time. So CCCI, they have put out a release. I'm going to play for you first of all, I'm going to play for you the audio version of the press release that they have sent out in relation to this issue. I'm just looking for it in my files because I know I do have it. So I'm going to play for you the audio version of what has been said by CCCI, sorry. It's so much CCC. Okay, 4C and an I. What has been said by them as regards the statements being made by the Prime Minister. And then we'll go over some of the statements the Prime Minister has been making one by one, and we'll deal with them, because you and I know the man does lie. You and I know that is a fact. We ain't saying that as we're trying to besmirch his character. We're saying that because it is a fact, an provable fact, that the Prime Minister of this country tells lies. We could only talk about the River Road project and we could catch him lying several times. The story does change like the weather in the middle of July. Anyhow, so let's go to the first one here, the audio of the release.
The following is a statement of facts by CCCI Construction as of 2nd April 2026. In light of recent and continued statements by the Prime Minister of Grenada with regards to the contractual performance by Consolidated Contractors Company Caribbean Inc., CCCCI, and or its ability to competently carry out its contractual obligations with the Government of Grenada and or its subcontractors, CCCCI presents this statement of facts in order to set the record straight. 1. The availability and supply of asphalt. CCCCI is the sole provider of asphalt in Grenada. CCCCI has always provided asphalt in accordance with its contractual obligations as to time, quantity, and cost, whether as to the Government of Grenada, its subcontractors, or agents, or to any third-party contractors. 2. The availability and supply of aggregate. CCCCI is the sole provider of aggregate for road construction and paving. This aggregate is supplied from the Mount Hartman Quarry, which is operated by CCCCI. CCCCI has always provided aggregate in accordance with its contractual obligations as to time, quantity, and cost, whether as to the Government of Grenada, its subcontractors or agents, or to other third-party contractors. 3. Molineux Road Project. CCCCI was contracted by the main contractor Renault to pave with asphalt the approaches to the new concrete section of the Molineux Road on a base prepared by Renault. The contract required 2 layers of asphalt over the base as prepared by Renault, with payment for each layer being contractually due in advance. CCCCI did not complete the second layer due to non-payment of the contractually due sum. In the circumstances, the road surface is not up to the designed standard, but this is as a result of the inability to apply the second layer of asphalt in accordance to our contract as set out above, and also due to Renault preparing a substandard base layer. 4. Outstanding payments by the government. Cliff Road Project. The government has failed to meet its contractual payment obligations to CCCCI, and with 90% of the job completed, CCCCI has received only about 25% of the sums contractually due. CCCCI, as a local company, continues in good faith, and with the interests of the Grenadian people at heart, has continued to carry out the project despite the lack of payment. The project cost $16.5 million, and out of that, CCCCI has received approximately $4 million. 5. Outstanding payment by the government, True Blue Road Project. CCCCI completed this project in 2024 and in accordance with the terms of the contract with the government of Grenada. Approximately 30% of the amount due to CCCCI is outstanding by the government. The approximate sum due is $1.5 million. 6. Outstanding payments by the government. Hot mix supply. CCCCI estimates that the government is indebted to it in the sum of approximately $3.5 million for the year 2025. 7. In consideration of CCCCI being awarded 3 contracts, namely 2 for River Road and 1 for the Cliff, the government requested and CCCCI agreed to a discount on the Cliff Road project, with CCCCI expecting, as agreed, the River Road projects to be awarded. In accordance with this agreement, the Cliff Road project price was subsequently reduced by approximately $3 million, but the government has yet to award the River Road projects to CCCCI in accordance with the agreement. The following is a statement of facts by CCCCI.
So there you have it, folks. Consolidated Contractors Company Caribbean Incorporated have come out to defend themselves. We heard that that's similar something to this a couple of years ago, just about a year ago, with JIPA when it came to the national health insurance issue. They had to issue a release to clear their name because of the lies that were told on them by the Prime Minister of this country. That's why I said there's a trend here. It is not a first time that we're hearing that the Prime Minister is lying on people. Where are we with national health insurance? We dey no way. We do dey no way. Because they got rid of the JIPA network. These people were assisting with the national health insurance. Prime Minister, they get rid of them. They refuse to meet with them. They refuse to review the work and so. Then they go and say that the people wasn't doing the work and that they couldn't meet with the people. After the people have documented evidence of attempting to get in front of the Prime Minister and his team to speak to them about national health insurance, because they, like you and like me, understand the importance of national health insurance, especially if your intention is to go to the type of medical facility that you're speaking about, that the average middle and low income Grenadian will never be able to afford unless they have some sort of health insurance. They will not be able, and it will not be free. Let me repeat again, it will not be free. They try to give this impression because they want to place a particular thought in your mind before they call elections, so that you will go to the polls with that thought in your mind that you are going to have access to world-class health care. No. If it is built, what is going to happen is that you will have world-class health care, but that doesn't mean that you will have access to it. Not because it's in Grenada mean you have access to it, you know. None of we can just walk in Spicing and go and open a door and sit down in a room and say that we there, you know, it's Grenada. Not because it's in Grenada mean we have access. You have to make your booking, you have to make your payment, and then you get your opportunity to go in Spicing, isn't it? The same if you're going in Silver Sands. Not because it is in Grenada means we have access to it and we could just go. And it's the same thing with Project Polaris. Not because you're saying you want to build this facility in Grenada, not because such a facility might exist in Grenada means that every Grenadian has access to it. What can give every Grenadian access to something like that would be national health insurance. So back to CCCI. We have been hearing all sorts of statements. Some of them, some of the kind of statements we've been hearing from the Prime Minister in relation to not just CCCI as I mentioned, but regarding various the local contractors on a whole. And let's just go through some of the statements that the Prime Minister has been making regarding CCCI and other companies. Yeah?
It started in May or June of last year. It hasn't completed as yet. It's not the government doing the work, it's a contractor. And I'm not picking a fight with the contractor, but I'm saying openly I'm disappointed with the pace of the work. That contractor controls the quarry. And in simple terms, the quarry is where we get the stones, the base material that is needed to go on the road itself, and the material that is needed to mix the asphalt so that we get asphalt. So this is not a capacity, this is not an issue about money, but whether the government is paying the contractor or not. The money is there. It's an issue about the contractors.
Again, that's the first, well, that's just one of the lies that you're going to hear, because the Prime Minister claims that it's not an issue about money and the contractors are being paid, but we saw that they have received only 25%, 25% of one payment into the millions, and just a small percentage again of another payment that is due to them. So yes, Mr. Prime Minister, and this was during the budget debate for the year 2025, the 2025 budget debate. This was the Prime Minister there saying that money is not an issue, but the company, and that can be verified, they can show what money they receive and what money they didn't receive. Money is an issue. How you expect them to buy bitumen? How you expect them to buy asphalt and so? Because they have to buy these things and bring them in while they have the aggregate. How do you expect them to pay for the fuels for the truck and to pay the staff and so on if you're not paying them? When they put out money, you're not paying them.
Material that is needed to go on the road itself, and the material that is needed to mix the asphalt so that we get asphalt. So this is not a capacity, this is not an issue about money, but whether the government is paying the contractor or not. The money is there. It's an issue about the contractor's capacity. And I'm saying this is a contractor of a monopoly on the single quarry that we're operating in Mount Hartman. And this is the same contractor who, the name has a different name now, but this is the same contractor who essentially had a monopoly on road construction, God knows, for the last 30 years or so, CCC or CCCI, whatever name you want to call them. Which meant that very few other private persons invested in the capacity to build and construct roads in Grenada. That is the uncontroverted facts. So they got the contract to redo the Trugle Road. It is significantly delayed. I'm not going to pull a president off an alley because I might be a lot more indecent than he was. It is the same contractor who has the contract for less than a mile of road between the cliff and Woodlands. That project started in April. There will always be all kinds of excuses, whether it's gravel and concrete, whether it's something at the port. The fact is the pace of the work is completely unsatisfactory. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Infrastructure, the chief technical officer, the consultant, the advisor in the ministry, I've made it clear to them that the pace has to be picked up significantly this month or there will be consequences. But I want to point out something. The contractor has a monopoly on the quarry and therefore a monopoly on asphalt supply. And that is the same contractor that we have to rely on to provide asphalt to the Ministry of Infrastructure to fix all of the potholes we have around the country. We simply do not have asphalt.
And again, the Prime Minister is lying there because one, they have not been paying that company for the asphalt that they have. They owe several $1 million to them for asphalt, so I don't know how they expect them to buy more asphalt when you're not paying them for the asphalt that they brought in already. And secondly, there is no problem when it comes to getting asphalt. The company knows and has been getting asphalt. That is a fact. In fact, I'll play a news release in relation to that where just in case they had a problem with getting asphalt, that they were looking at alternative markets. Again, the Prime Minister is lying.
But we are not just complaining. We've invited other private sector persons to get involved. And so you would see that there's a plant that is being set up in Boucherjou. We are waiting on two other parts. It's a private sector plant. We have simply, in an attempt to get this matter dealt with, offered a space to put a plant. We were originally trying to get the plant to Pearls. And this is where we have to understand how the challenges we have with our infrastructure. The plant couldn't pass through the Paradise Bridge because it's too large. And the only other attempt to get it, you'd have to barge it around Telescope, which then creates all kinds of safety challenges. So the plant had to sit in Lagoon Road for 2 months until we figured out whether there was sufficient space at Boucherjou. Hopefully, the parts come soon and we are good. But when you have the plant, now you need the aggregates. Who controls the aggregates? A competitor. So you'll have issues about whether you will even get the aggregates and the price at which you will get it. So, Mr. Speaker, if that's the case, we will have to import the aggregates.
And again, why would you go importing aggregates when aggregates are available in Grenada? It is obvious that whatever you get here would be cheaper than what you would have to import. And you'd be providing jobs for Grenadians by what you utilize here. So you're having something available in Grenada and you are taking scarce foreign exchange just to spite a company and saying, let us spend that money outside of Grenada on another group of people who are not employing Grenadians. Let us spend money on them, get aggregate from them and bring it into the country just to spite the people who are producing here.
To import aggregates in large enough quantities to make a difference. If it has to come to the port of St. George, we got problems because then you'd have to have huge trucks hauling this to get to Boucherville. Traffic and environmental challenges. It therefore means, Mr. Speaker, we have to find a way to barge this via sea up to the Boucherville area. So a lot of us talk and like to make mischief, and I want to start, I'm going to segue a little, because road construction is not, it's not cutting checks to farmers. It is complex, difficult, dirty work. You need to import the bitumen. The contractor is not importing bitumen in quantities that allows us to have any sustained asphalt. It may have cash flow problems, I don't know.
You very well know that they have cash flow problems because again, friends, he knows he's not paying them. You're not paying the people and then you're saying you don't know if they have cash flow problems. They're sinking their money. They have staff, they have vehicles, they have buildings that they have. All of these things they have to take into consideration, their operating costs. All of that. You not paying them and then saying you don't know if they have cash flow problems when you're just not paying them. The same way that we have many public workers right now who are not receiving their money. We have many other people. You have nurses in receiving their money. You have teachers in receiving their money. You have other people working within the public service not receiving their money. People in various departments just not receiving their money. You think a CCCI is different in that? They're just not paying them. And after you're not paying them, then you're saying that you don't know if they have cash flow problems. My goodness. Because again, folks, let me remind you all again. Yeah, let me pull it up here. Let me remind you all again. The government has failed to meet its contractual obligations to CCCI, and with 90% of the job completed, CCCI has received only 25% of the sums contractually due. That is on the Cliff Road project. That is just on the Cliff Road project. And then you also have the True Blue Road project that approximately 30% of the amount due is outstanding by the government. The approximate sum due is $1.5 million. There are outstanding payments outside of those two sets of money that they owe in them. They owe them again, yeah, in relation to the same asphalt, the hot mix. They owe them money in that to the sum of $3.5 million. So you owe them all this money and you're still saying you don't know if they have a cash flow problem. All you can see that is wickedness. And again, forget the company. Forget CCCI. Forget them. But remember, it's people working with them. It's us Grenadians. Grenadians from all over this country who are working with them. And when you do not pay them, how you expect them to maintain these workers and so on? When you make them mobilize workers, as was done, this government made that company mobilize workers for the River Road project. They told them for sure, all you get in the project, give us the percentage off on the hot mix, and all you're getting the two components, that is to pave the road now in River Road that we keep hearing about for 3 years, going on 4 years now. We keep hearing about paving the road in River Road, and it ain't happening. So they were supposed to receive the contract to pave that road. They know who they want to give it, so they're making sure they ain't give them. Yeah? Remember, the Cliff Road project, 16.5 million, and CCCI only received 4 million. out of that. Yeah? And in accordance with the agreement that the government of Grenada had with that company, they reduced the bill by $3 million so that they would get the River Road project and there's another project I think they mentioned, let me see. By the government yet or the River Road, right. So they were supposed to get 2 projects in River Road and one other project that they had to do. And that would have accounted for the $3 million. So they were saving the taxpayers by that negotiation. The government didn't hold up their end of the deal. That company had to take all the guys that they had brought in and mobilized. When I say mobilize, understand what I mean. Man who wasn't working and they call them and say, we have work for you. Come in. And those guys were supposed to be the ones doing the paving of River Road. They had to take these guys now and find other place and put them. Other than that, these guys would have gone back home. So now the company has to absorb the cost and people that the government made them mobilize by promising them that they would get those 2 components. What I would say to CCCI is make sure you have it in writing next time. I hope all you have it in writing. Let me not take the thing. Next thing all you have it in writing in truth to them. Yeah, next thing all you Yeah, and look, somebody just remind me, Hanover Construction, same situation. I'm sure Gilbert Construction and many of the other construction companies having the same problem with government. They're just not paying. And then when you're not paying the people, and workers don't show up and so on, and they can't buy the material to get the job done, you're going and blame the contractor and saying it's the contractor that causing the delay. No, it's the government causing the delay. I want to take your mind back to a couple months ago. And I'm sure he's listening tonight. Good night to you, Mr. Justin Pierre. Because he always listens to these programs. He loves to listen to what's going on in Grenada. And if he's not listening live, somebody go tell him. Mr. Justin Pierre did an analysis of the Prime Minister's travels. Remember that? When he did the analysis of the Prime Minister's travels, that the Prime Minister was basically out of the state of Grenada for 2 out of every 4 weeks since he has been in office. On average, he has been out of the country for well over 2 years. The man has been out, not within the state of Grenada, for over 2 years out of the nearly 4 years that they have been in office. And there is an effect with that. It affects the ability of the ministry to carry out the work that they have to do, which is causing many of the delays that we are seeing. Because the man who's supposed to be there to give the lasha pen, to give the final okay, who wants to sit down on every bag of cement, who want to be in charge of every bridge that never get built, because you had a concrete bill, that bridge that was being built, you say you buy a steel bill, you get at the fraction of the cost and it's here in Grenada, then you come back to the same concrete bridge and say you have to build a concrete bridge. The same individual. So when he, according to Mr. Pierre, is out of the island for this length of time, what he is causing are backlogs within the ministry. Because you are the person who are supposed to oversee certain things. Yes, you have a permanent secretary. But permanent secretaries know very well they can't run off and just do things on their own because they may face consequences for that. So what the permanent secretaries do is they try to put things in front of their minister for their minister's attention. They may put a folder in front of you, as soon as they reach in, it's there, and they let you know this is urgent. But if you are not there, who can they put that folder in front of? Because you need to review. We know the Prime Minister don't like to read and think. He like to just press a button and sign thing for passport and citizenship. All kind of people from Al-Qaeda, all kind of thing, probably citizens of Grenada now. Because he does just press button and sign all. But you need to get the eyes of the particular minister on something and get their okay before you proceed with things. And there's a major component of the Cliff Road project that is affected in this way. A major component of it, and that is land acquisition. I remembered last year seeing a publication in the Government Gazette, Land Acquisition. I can pull it up for you. Yeah? I remember seeing that. in the government gazette last year regarding land acquisition. Yeah? And here it is. In the matter of preliminary notification by the, let me just increase the size here because it might be, I know some of you are watching this on your phone and thing. Nice, yeah. Yeah, pursuant to Section 4 of the Land Acquisition Act, Chapter 159 of the 2010 Continuous Revised Edition of the Laws of Grenada, it is hereby notified for general information in pursuant of the powers vested in her the Land Acquisition Act, Chapter 159 of 2010, Continuous Edition of the Revised Laws of Grenada, the Governor General, acting in accordance with the advice of Cabinet, has been pleased to appoint Mr. Trevor Barkey, Lands Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources, to be the authorized officer for the purpose of the acquisition of interest in the land mentioned and described in the schedule here too. Right? And then you have the names of the different people. You have Mr. Peter Forsyth there, 1,751 square feet. Margaret Andrew Nee Edmond, 5,715 square feet. You have Kurt and Carla Ross, 1,190 square feet. Or you expect me to say something else? They are not. Robert Marichaud, 1,370 square feet. Vida Romaine, 994 square feet. Joan Francis, 5,232 square feet. Nawasa, 2 bits, 590 square feet one way and 778 square feet the other way. Alright, so it has been published on February the 6th, 2025. This was published. Yeah? So there is an active land acquisition taking place regarding that project. And indeed, according to law, it was gazetted a second time. The same thing, you see it here on the February the 28th, 2025. So that's last year. Yeah, it was again. Let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. Yeah, so you see, not the possessory title one, but you see it over here, the Land Acquisition Act, and you realize it's the same people here: Peter Forsyth, Margaret Andrew, Kurt and Carla Ross, Robert Marichaud, etc., etc. All right, so you see it there that they did indeed start the process, and I know what I'm saying, start the process of acquisition. Yeah, and I can play something as well off from, let me play something here, man.
8 landowners, including the National Water and Sewage Authority, will have to reduce their amount of land because of the government's decision to acquire a total of 17,620 square feet of lands under the Land Acquisition Act to rehabilitate and widen the Woodlands to Woburn section of the Eastern Main Road. The first notice of the acquisition was published in the February 6th edition of the Government Gazette. The subject of the notice reads, "In the matter of preliminary notification by the Governor General, pursuant to Section 4 of the Land Acquisition Act, Chapter 159 of the 2010 Continuous Revised Edition of the Laws of Grenada." The notice states that, acting on the advice of the Cabinet of Grenada, the Governor General has appointed Mr. Trevor Barkley, Lands Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry.
So you basically realize it's the exact same thing that I just read for you that they have in that news report, but I just wanted you to see it from somewhere else, that indeed the government did state that they are acquiring those properties. So the process would be that they have to do that. They also supposed to post notices on the properties that we are appropriating. We are appropriating these properties. We are taking these properties for the national good. Yeah, and they could make up their mind what the national good is, but that they are getting these for the national good. Now, and I'll tie it in for you, because I was looking for the actual press release, and it was a press release that came out. My good friends, if you find that release for me, when I say that, people just know automatically who are talking to, you know. There was a release that came out after the last press conference that the Prime Minister held in relation to infrastructure. And as part of that press release, the following statement was there. Yeah? Payments to landowners for acquisition of project-affected land will be completed in the first quarter of 2026. The relevant cadastral surveys have been completed and are pending submission. Valuations of properties are yet to be done. Let me repeat that again. Payments to landowners for the acquisition of project-affected land will be completed in the first quarter of 2026. The relevant cadastral surveys have been completed and are pending submission. Valuations of properties are yet to be done. Yeah? So you see there that while since last year, the beginning of last year, they did the part where they put it in the Gazette. In other words, baffle people. We put it in the Gazette, everybody go feel that we acquired the land. No. What this is causing is that the contractors can't do the work. They're delayed. You haven't even got a valuation of the property yet. You can't go and touch the people's property unless you have completed properly and legally the full slate of things that you're supposed to do under the Land Acquisition Act. If you go and you touch the people's property without completing what you're supposed to do under land acquisition, inclusive of paying the people, you can find yourself having to pay them a lot more than you would have had to pay them because you had to pay them damages, and so they'll take you to court. And you'll have to pay for damages and all different things like that. So what it has caused is that the contractors, if they're doing a piece of road here and they need a piece of land on that part because they want to widen the road, and we all know that cliff road needs to be widened. It have to widen, which means that you have to get land from people to do it. And while as government, the Constitution of Grenada gives any government the ability to take any piece of land, any part of Grenada, once it is for the national good. Any piece of land, any piece of Grenada, the one you're on right now, the government can take it and say it is for national good. Yeah? They can't just take it. It must be for the national good. In this instance, you're speaking of widening the road so that people could travel along the road more safely. That is what you're speaking about here. One, some of the landowners, one or two of the landowners mentioned there, may not even be alive. Some is family members who remain behind that the government has to negotiate with to get those lands. Again, if the Prime Minister never there to oversee the process and make sure the process is completed, you can't blame your CTO, you can't go and blame your permanent secretary. You as the minister have to keep on top of them to make sure what has to be done is done. And the Prime Minister has never been in Grenada for a full month since he came into office. He's always out for half of the month. He's always gone. The only reason he's here now is because bomb flying in Dubai. That's the only reason he's here right now. Bomb flying, so he ain't. So you see, only this year, they came to the Grenadian people and they told us, remember I just showed you documents from the 6th and the 28th, Government Gazette, the 6th and the 28th of February 2025. Now, in 2026, a full year later, that is when they're sending out this document. Speaking of payments to landowners for the acquisition and so. And they just finished doing the cadastral surveys, in other words, what is really your property, where you need to go, how much you need to take and so. And now they have to set the valuation. And the valuation has to be at fair market value. You can't just decide, well, we will give them at 10,000 for that. No. You have to give the people the money at fair market value, but you ain't paying the contractor. And up to this point in time, from the information that I received so far, I don't know if any of the people have been paid. So how do you expect the people to complete the road if you ain't secure the land that they have to complete the road on? You understand what is going on here? The Prime Minister is trying to use these people, and I'm speaking about CCCI here, but the same thing goes for Hanover. The same thing goes for all of those other construction companies. A lot of them keeping their mouth quiet because they're still hoping that they can get a government contract here and there. But this is the reality. The Prime Minister and his travels, every minute he out. You're looking for the Prime, he gone. That's if he ain't jumped the jet and gone with them too. Because he's hardly ever here. The only reason he's sticking around right now is a lady by the name of Mrs. Nolene Thompson. That is who have him sticking around right now. Other than that, he would have been gone again. His record thus far is he has spent a solid 2 years. When you count it up, 2 years solidly out of the island. And he hasn't even spent 4 years as a Prime Minister yet. Unheard of. Nobody ever hear this kind of thing. And while he's out there gallivanting, there is no one there to sign these documents to ensure that what has to be done is done, or to oversee the process to make sure that the PSs do what they're supposed to do and get the okay. He's not there. And then he come in and blame the contractors and say it's slow and he's upset about it, and he's so upset about it and so on. Yes, you're going to be upset about it because you're the cause. In fact, the Prime Minister should fire the Minister of Infrastructure. Don't even put him in another ministry. Let's fire the Minister of Infrastructure. Do not shuffle the pack and put that joker anywhere else. Fire the Minister of Infrastructure totally. Get rid of him. Waste of time. He's Parbon. Yeah, Kuyol in the tail tonight. Yeah? Deacon Parbon. Ask us and Lucian to go tell you what I say. But folks, that is the situation. Yeah, that is the situation. The land acquisition is very important. It's a very, very important aspect of this. And I'll tell you why. And let me see if I can find an example of it here. Is this one of them? Yes, I believe this is one of them. Yeah. So let me show you this one. For instance, this picture. This area, the area that I'm dancing around here, there's a necessity to acquire some property in this area. And the contractor cannot simply go and break down the people place and move it back a much feet or anything like that. They cannot simply just go and break down people place. In fact, from the beginning, the project wasn't even properly handed over to them in the first place. Much less for them to go and break down these things and end up in problem, because it's not the government of Grenada go have to pay the damages. It is CCCI that go have to pay. They are the ones that go end up having to pay. Yeah? You also have situations like this, and let me show you this one, that held back the project. Now, Grenlec had to move poles. And if Grenlec don't move the poles, how you expect the contractor to go and do it? You want them to pave around the pole? I see they do it in some place up in Mount Gay or somewhere. But you want them to go and pave around the pole? No. That is nonsense and stupidness. So Grenlec has to move the poles out of the way for the widening of the road. Other than that, you're just going to end up with a road paved with a lamp pole in the middle of it. Or a quarter or 1/3 into the road, you have a lamp pole. Nonsense. Again, you can clearly see that the way that they're putting down, they're going here in this area with that trench, that there is an intention to widen the road. Which means that this house that you're seeing here and part of this property would have to go and become the road. And government can't touch the people placed there. They can't touch the property unless they get the okay. In other words, they acquire the property properly and pay the people. But we have heard from the Prime Minister at the beginning of this year, when he cussing in Parliament about, things that happen no other and that you do this and that and the other. While he talking nonsense in Parliament in December, he knows fully well that these people have not been paid. And in some instances, some of the people in those areas, those people can't even be contacted because they're dead. They're gone to the great beyond. God bless their soul. So they have to be negotiating with the children. Some who not living in the country. Some of these children living outside of the country. So you have situations like this, where Grenlec and so they have to be coming to move those poles out of the way, because those poles, you can't put up the back wall now because the pole in the way. And you can't go to put in the back wall there because you don't own the property, you don't have access to the property, and you cannot just go and do it. Because the Prime Minister and his ministry, together with the Attorney General's chambers, the legal arm of government, are not doing their job. They could come and knock my door. They could call me while I lie down on a hospital bed in St. Lucia. But they can't find the people to sort out this issue to save Grenadians millions of dollars. That's who we're dealing with in this country. So you recognize here that there is the attempt to widen the road. This is what they're doing. So they'll put up a back wall, a wall here, and widen the road. Bring the road, make the road more wide. So that you won't have that problem when you're going through there, 2 trucks coming through and you're worrying. Especially when you see 2 trucks coming there, you have to worry if they go in and touch you, And you have to hope it's not a gas truck and another truck. So they're trying to widen that road there. But you must acquire the property, and the government has not been doing their job. And they're not doing their job and then coming and blame everybody else. Mr. Prime Minister, fire the Minister of Infrastructure and keep him away from governance of this country in any form or format. Fire him. Get rid of the guy. Yeah? Because he keeps coming and attacking the contractors. In fact, let's see another news report here of one of the attacks that he leveled against some of them. And this one, I believe, is from the budget late last year. So let's hear what he had to say there.
Network received an email from some concerned citizens affected by the Cliff Road Rehabilitation Project, Upper Woburn to Woodlands and George. The email addressed the ongoing delay to the project, referring to the delay as administrative rather than operational. The email claims, as it stands, required land acquisitions have not been gazetted, which is a crucial legal step for the continuation of construction. It reads, quote, "No gazette means no legal right to the land. Without the land, construction cannot continue. As a result, residents, commuters, and local businesses are left in limbo," end quote. The email called for timely government action and transparent communication, citing that the project is not just about road work, but it is a matter of road safety, access, and community development. When contacted for a response, Chief Technical Officer in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Kevin Blash, provided 2 government gazettes dated February 28th and March 7th, 2025, which showed the land acquisitions were officially published. On March 17, 2025, the Grenada Broadcasting Network aired a report where Larry Vanden Heuvel, Director of Consolidated Contractors Company Caribbean Inc., or CCCI, the private company contracted to complete the project, attributed the delay to the project to external factors beyond the company's control.
The Cliff, we are behind program. There's been some challenges there. A lot of the services allowing us access in moving the utility services haven't all been moved, so we don't have complete access on the whole project. Everybody knows about it. I spoke about it on a previous occasion. Now recently they've given us access on the right hand side. Yes. Excavate for a retaining wall if you haven't got the landowner's approval, and you haven't got the utility poles moved, and you haven't got the Nawasa water pipeline moved. You can't do anything. At the moment, we should be finished.
And again, what he's just said is pure common sense. If you don't move your Nawasa lines, you're going to do that Cliff project. There are Nawasa lines running there. Nawasa has decided to use the opportunity to upgrade those lines. If they dilly-dally and they don't do it in a speedy manner, it is not CCCI you have to blame. Yeah, Nawasa just happens to be a statutory body, the same as Grenlec. And if you're having problems for Grenlec and Nawasa to come and move their lines, be it the electrical lines or be it the water lines, that again falls under the Ministry of Infrastructure, not CCCI. So you expect the people to do the work? You expect them to go and pave an area for Nawasa to come and dig it up to say we're fixing the pipe? Come on, man.
Excavate for a retaining wall if you haven't got the landowner's approval, and you haven't got the utility poles moved, and you haven't got the Nawasa water pipeline moved. You can't do anything. At the moment, we should be finished at the end of September. We will not be finished at the end of September, unfortunately. At the moment, we're running about 2.5 months late.
The GBN contacted the CCCI for an updated statement regarding the delay. We were informed to send an email with our concerns to the company. Up to news time, an official response has not been forthcoming. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Now again, they're using the fact that the land acquisition has been gazetted. But it is much more than that. It's not just gazetting. Yeah? There's a lot more under, and I do have, just for you all to know, I do have the Land Acquisition Act. You know I always had the law. So I do have the Land Acquisition Act that states how the process is supposed to take place. Yeah? So you see here, Section 3 of the Land Acquisition Act. It says, if the Governor General considers that any land should be acquired for a public purpose, he or she may cause a declaration to that effect to be made in the manner provided by this section. And the declaration shall be conclusive evidence that the land to which it relates is required for a public purpose. Yeah? So you have that where they have to, the parish or district in which the land is situated, a description of the land given the approximate area and such other particulars as are necessary to identify the land. All of that. And it says here, every declaration shall be published in 2 ordinary issues of the Gazette, and copies thereof shall be posted on one of the buildings, if any, on the land, or exhibited as suitable places in the locality in which the land is situated, and in declaration shall be specified the following particulars related to the land. Alright, so you have to put up a notice on the building that has all this information, which parish or district, description of the land, the size of the land, how much square feet or whatever, in cases where a plan has been prepared, the place where and the time when a plan of the land can be inspected. So you have to give the owner the opportunity to inspect the plan, or their agents. The public purpose for which the land is required. You can't just say you're taking land for a public purpose. You have to state what the public purpose is. Whether the freehold, leasehold or mortgage interest is being acquired as well. Yeah? Upon the second publication of the declaration in the Gazette, as aforesaid, the land freehold shall vest absolutely in the Crown. Leasehold for the Crown shall revert immediately with exclusive possession to the Crown. Leasehold other than from the Crown, the unexpired term of that lease shall vest in the Crown. Mortgage, the mortgage interest being acquired, shall vest in the Crown, and the Crown shall, in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Constitution, and I have the copy of the Constitution, and of this Act, make prompt payment of such full compensation as may be due. So you have to pay the people for the property. You can't just decide that you are acquiring land and you are not making the payments. Yeah, you can't do that. But again, the Prime Minister tries to put everything on their back. He tries to accuse, and again, it's not just CCCI. It is other contractors as well.
There is one quarry that technically should be shut down. We are seeking to reopen the Telescope quarry. There is one asphalt plant operational by a private entity. We've sought to encourage investment in the private sector, and we expect more will enter the country. We import all our sand from Guyana, and we import all of the aggregates that are required in construction. So those things are not things that are going to happen overnight, at the snap of the finger. But we are committed to making sure that we plan properly and that we can get it done. I want to emphasize this because...
And just in case you all don't realize, in the 2025 budget debate, he made nearly the same speech, yeah?
2.5 years, Mr. Speaker, I have sought as the Minister for Infrastructure to support and fight for local contractors. But some of these local contractors are not fighting for themselves at all. They seem to think the government is blind. They can give you shoddy work, improper work, delayed work, and think they should not be held accountable.
And again, they delayed because of you. And if they delayed, if you're supposed to put 2 layers of asphalt down on something, as in the case with Molyneux, and let's use Molyneux as an example. Renault Company out of St. Lucia, they were the contractors for the Molyneux project. They subcontracted CCCI to do the asphalt work, to pave the Molyneux area. Remember only recently I was speaking about the fact that there are potholes and so there. They were supposed to pave. So CCCI went and they did the first pave. If you look at it, you could realize that it ain't finished. That is why I've been saying over the past few weeks, they ain't finished. Because you put the first layer down, and then there's supposed to be a second layer on top of that. And if the second layer went down, then you would not have a problem there. In both instances, Renault was supposed to pay consolidated contractors up front. They were supposed to pay them for the paving work up front. They did not do that in the first instance. Even after the first one was paved without the upfront payment, they still did not pay them. Hence the reason they didn't go back and pave the thing. So it's not that they did substandard work. The base that they paved on top was not prepared by consolidated contractors. It was prepared by Reno and Company. Yes, that same Reno that we keep hearing about there, Reno and Company were the ones that prepared the base. So those of you that know a bit about construction would know that you have to prepare a base. Back when I was small, I remember in the Berlin Road, and so I used to see the steamroller. Yeah, we used to call it steamroller, passing up and down and just leveling, compacting the soil, compacting the everything before they put the asphalt on top. So if the compacting was not done properly, if that was done shoddily, then whatever you go and do after by putting the first layer of asphalt and not putting the second, gonna look like you do bad work, but understand where it came from. And this is not defending CCCCI. This is stating a fact, because the Prime Minister continues to lie to the Grenadian people, and that cannot be accepted. Now what has happened? Reno and them go and they're doing their own asphalt plant, isn't it? And what did the Prime Minister and them do? They went and they gave permission to Reno and them to do the asphalt plant, and they gave them, when they think none of we ain't paying attention. So they go to the government gazette and they placed it in the government gazette. What's the date of this government gazette? The 24th of December last year. In other words, Christmas Eve. When who eating ham? Me eating that. When who eating ham? Who baking turkey? Who boiling sorrel? Who doing all kind of thing? Is when they come and decide that they would publish the permission for Reno group of companies to place the asphalt plant and so on in the Woodford area. Yeah, this is where the Planning Development Authority, the same people that breaking down people place are wrong place now. Yeah, they got the permission. They gave the permission for Reno, and you see it here, right? For the asphalt plant, and I believe there is also permission for a jetty. Yeah, so they could do a jetty down in the Woodford area, and they can do, so you see it here, clearly stated, the construction of a jetty to be constructed in the Woodford Bay under conditions stated below. The construction and setup of an asphalt plant in Woodford St. John under conditions stated below. So when they think that all of us wasn't paying attention, but I was reading that all Christmas Day, but when they think none of us paying attention is when they go and they publish that. In other words, giving permission. Not yet, that was the first publication, and they had to do a second publication of the same thing. Yeah, they had to publish it a second time in the government gazette. That give them legal authority to go ahead and proceed with what they had to do. And here it is, the 2nd of January, when Summer Ollie was still groggy off of the New Year's Day and so Friday, the 2nd of January is when they come. Yeah, New Year's honors and thing, but look, they put it here again. So over the Christmas season, when this government thought that some of us not paying attention, is when they gave permission to Reno to open the asphalt plant there, against the wishes of the residents of that area. Because the residents of that area are concerned about their health and safety. Reno have a record, you know. Reno have a record. Ask St. Lucians. Reno has a record. So the people there are concerned about their health. They are concerned about their safety with that project taking place there. And oh boy, and I don't seem to have it here, you know. Yeah, they are concerned about their safety with what is taking place there. So we have to understand what is going on here. The Prime Minister, through his own doings and not doings, are the ones that are delaying these projects, and then they're trying to place the blame on the contractors, which is unfair. Nobody is saying that contractors are perfect, you know. But let's look at the Cliff Woburn Road. You're doing one stretch of road. You have legal authority and permission to do the first two pieces. you don't have legal authority to do the third piece. So you have to leave there and go to the 5th and the 6th and the 7th. Because you can't do the part 3, you can't do part 4. You have to leave 2 of them alone. So you have to skip that area and go and start to put up your walls and do what you have to do on the other part, because you don't have permission to put up the wall that you need to put up to widen the road, not to cut the road, plus their lamp poles there, plus their water pipes there. You cannot do the work that you need to do there. And then at the end of the day, you go still come and say that it is the company that creating the problem. When the government, the Ministry of Legal Affairs, needs to do its work and ensure that the land acquisition process is completed, the Ministry of Finance needs to play its part too and ensure that the property owners are paid. But yet still, you're hearing in 2026, after the publication that we showed you, on the 6th and 28th of February 2025, you're seeing in 2026 that they're now trying to find out how much they're going to pay these people for the property. So the whole year, that wasn't important. You're now going to find out that you have to pay the people and how much you're going to have to pay them. Yeah? Mr. Prime Minister, if you're getting funding from Reno for your election campaign, just say so. Some people might I ain't going to understand. But some people might understand. You understand? You understand? Yeah. But some people might understand if you're getting our money from them. But let me remind you of something when it comes to Reno and quarries. Let me remind you of something with Reno and quarries. This is St. Lucia in the year 2017. When, and I'm still waiting to see the report in relation to it. I'm not sure if the report has ever been made public, of an explosion at the quarry that Reno operated in Ferran, was the name of the place? Yeah, Ferrans, in St. Lucia. This was the result of the same Reno that here now that in Woodford setting up plant. This was what happened there. The explosion that killed 4 people, injured 21. The same Reno. I'm not against Reno, I'm stating facts. If anything I say here is a lie, they have lawyers. This is the same Reno that they come and put in between the people of Woodford, as if they don't count and they don't matter. This was the location of the explosion there that 4 people died in. 2 died instantly and 2 died afterwards. They had to fly people to Martinique for treatment. Yeah? The same Reno. The same Reno. So don't come and act like Reno is the greatest gift from God to the Grenadian people. Yeah? Ask them about if they've been involved in politics in St. Lucia and which political candidates they back and how much money. Because y'all cannot figure out how much million, I don't know, that they backed. Because they get involved in these kind of things apparently. So we don't know if it is funding for your campaign you're looking for. Because we know you're looking for campaign funding all over and them kind of thing. You understand? It's the same Reno. 2017. I hope I pronounce the place correct, because sometimes in Creole you see a word written a certain way and it's not necessarily pronounced that way. But I believe the area is called Ferran. Yeah? 2 people died instantly right there. And you see the force of that explosion, because who knows, something that should not have taken place took place. That is the people you come and put the place in between people now. You ain't even say, let us take them and put them somewhere far away from people. You come and put them right up in the people in Woodford nose. And they're supposed to be okay with that. They're supposed to be okay with that. You ain't even say, well, okay, if we put in them, they'll relocate those people. As human beings would I do. Because you're going to have smoke, you're going to have dust, you're going to have noise, you're going to have all kind of things taking place there. Regardless of what you put in the PDA puts in their publication in the Gazette, you will have these things taking place. You will have damage to the roads, you will have all sorts of things taking place there due to that facility being there. But then, again, you're dealing with a government that just don't care. They don't care. So they could care less. Yeah? Also, my friends that say less, they could care less. So the Prime Minister is very aware of what is causing the delays. It's not the people, not the handovers, not the CCCI. It is not them. They are not the ones causing the backlogs in relation to this thing. I hope that this clears it up for a lot of us and we understand clearly what is taking place with this. I'm going to open the phone lines. Let me hear from some of you. I think we have roughly about, we say 20 minutes, but I did say I would go after after the time as well. Yeah, so we're going to give the opportunity for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. I did mention to you as well that the company was looking at alternative markets in relation to asphalt, just in case they had to get asphalt from otherwise. And let me remind you all of that with a GBN news release.
Cost of doing business is hitting the Caribbean, and it's coming by sea. New tariffs imposed on Chinese-built vessels are likely to disrupt the delivery of critical materials like bitumen, used in everything from road paving to roofing. In this light, the Consolidated Contractors Company Caribbean Inc., or CCCCI, one of the region's largest construction firms, has already begun to seek alternative markets for its supply to keep its projects on track. Bitumen is an oil-based product used as a binding agent in asphalt and is shipped in solid form via special sealed containers and must be heated before being pumped into a high-tech mixing system for use. Nelson Louison, the managing director of CCCCI, tells GBN about moves afoot to mitigate possible disruptions in their supply. Each 20-foot container of bitumen yields roughly 500 tons of asphalt, enough to pave about half a mile of road.
Just about in the last month or two, we have been looking at alternative sources, and even more so with the tariff and the Trump and all these complications of Chinese sheep or what kind of sheep they may be, we had to look at sources closer. Unfortunately, in that form, we cannot get it in the Caribbean per se. So we are looking at some sources in South America where we are very close to coming to arrangements to have easier shipping routes so that we can have at least more reliable within, I would say, 30 days to 45 days.
However, he said the issue of supply disruptions has been ongoing since the COVID-19 pandemic.
The source of thermal tank, because they are one of the world's leading producers of bitumen in this form for transportation purposes, and mainly they source from Bahrain, Norway, and different parts very far away, quite so. So when you order, you have a long gesticulation period. It is an oil-based product, so you have to pay in advance in full before they deliver. And you can wait sometimes, like before COVID and so, you could have gotten bitumen every say in 21 days. Since COVID and the supply chain of shipping has been problematic, there are sometimes 3 months. We have to pay and wait.
Luzon provided the update during a media tour of its Mount Hartman quarry site on Monday, where basalt rock, which is commonly used as an aggregate, is in abundance. CCCI executives confirmed that despite growing logistical pressure, they remain ready to meet local demands and across the region.
We also make ourselves available to support any technical working group that seeks to address issues of promoting inter-regional trade, overcoming some of the nagging logistical challenges which impact the efficient movement of goods within our region, and also other avenues of innovative support to local small business interested in utilizing our aggregates for valuable product.
In an interconnected world, trade policy decisions made thousands of miles away can hit close to home. While the long-term impact of these tariffs is still unfolding, companies like CCCI are adapting. Reporting for GBN News, I am Nisha Paul.
Yes, Nisha Paul there reporting for the and they say Government Information Service. Yeah, because GBN kind of sounding like them these days. Yeah, yes indeed, folks. So the phone number 421-7279 and 440-7377. You can call us on the WhatsApp. Yeah, and that's just a little insight into what is taking place there, because you see, I could have played a lot more, but I don't want me go to bed and have nightmares tonight. I know some of you have nightmares tonight. I could have played a lot more and I could have shown a lot more. The Prime Minister is very well aware that he's lying. Very well aware. Yeah, he's aware that it's not a case that he is unaware and he's making statements. He's aware. Yeah, he's very well aware, and I'll leave it at that. Let me say that I lie. Yeah, he's very well aware. So again, 421-7279 and 440-7377. Those are the numbers to get onto the inside. So you see, you heard the release from CCCI, and some people might have just put it aside and say, oh, no. This is a factual document that they put out, a factual statement. And you're basically calling out the Prime Minister on his lies. The Prime Minister has been saying that, okay, they have a monopoly as regards the aggregate and the asphalt. Yes, that is the case. But it's Grenadians working there. Right? If you're saying you're going to leave the aggregate that you have here in Grenada in Mount Hartman, where there are men that leave in there every morning and go to work, that are providing for the children, and buy it outside of Grenada, just because you want to get rid of who is in charge of that quarry. And then you're saying we're going to reopen the telescope quarry. Nothing's wrong, reopen the telescope quarry. All I'm saying is, don't pass there with no explosive again, because up to this day today, the 9th of April 2026, we, meaning the Grenadian people on a whole, are still unaware of the outcome of the investigation of who was to blame for the explosion in Telescope, because we know, similar to what you just saw where I showed the explosion that took place in St. Lucia, we had a similar explosion here. The only thing was that it was far enough away from the homes that it didn't kill anybody. It damaged a lot of people, place and so, and one or two people get, minor, very minor injuries. But it could have been much worse. Remember, we've also heard from the government that there are still some of that same explosive left again. We don't know if the explosive, if they take it out, if they have it, they still call again. I realize I missed a call from a caller there. Yeah, we don't know if they've disposed of that explosive. You don't have to tell us the full story that you do that and you do that and you do that. But make sure that you dispose of it properly, because explosives, you do not want a situation that you go and you announce, okay, we go in with it on a badge at this time, at this hour, in this location, and then you end up with some criminal elements or terroristic elements trying to block you and get it. Then you don't want that happening. But at the same token, it does exist and it needs to be dealt with. Yeah, because other than that, what you will be doing is endangering the men and women, our brothers and sisters, who are in the RRU, the SSU. And even the trainees who are going down there who have entered police training school and have to spend their time down at SSU barracks. You're endangering all of them. You're even endangering people, the users of the road. So we need an update in relation to what has happened with that, the remaining explosives that were involved in that telescope explosion that took place, and if those have been disposed of properly. If the Grenadian people can with comfort say that those have been disposed of properly, and what are the results of the investigation into that last explosion. But as usual with this government, is a need to know situation. We ain't go hear anything, yeah? They always operate on a kind of need to know basis. They don't think they must tell us anything, yeah? Seems as though I've been very clear in relation to this issue. So there seems to be no need for you all to call, huh? So we don't have to go past 10 o'clock tonight. Okay, husband go feel nice tonight, yeah. Wifey coming up just now, Papa. Uh-huh. Oh, they coming for the vote though. Just recognize every time the Prime Minister is speaking these days, he's referring to Reno and other regional companies. Yeah? He's always referring to them. There's a reason for that. There's a connection there. And there's a reason for that. Just you'll find out sooner rather than later. Remember, he was the one that says, when you see the fancy big rallies and the artists and all these things, ask who paying for it. Yeah, well, we're asking now, who paying for it? Eh? We're asking now, who paying for yours? Nice? Yeah. A good night to you, Kira. I got your message. We have 9 minutes remaining on tonight's program. Boy, did not, oh boy, and I can't get it back. Oh boy, yeah. Well, you can call. What's happening? Just ringing once and I'm not getting through to try and call back. And yes, folks, we are on tomorrow night, Friday night. But let me let you all know from now, I will not be on Monday night, yeah? I've got an event that I must attend. Not that I want to, not that I think I might want to. It is very important I attend that event. It is taking place on Monday, and as such, by the time that is finished, yeah, by the time that is finished, there is no way I'll be able to do the program. So on Monday, I will not be doing the program on Monday, but I am on tomorrow night, yeah? And again, folks, those of you seeking to donate, just remember, yeah, write this, yeah. Just remember, write that down, you type it in, and you can get to us. Nice, yeah. We have things that we need to complete. One of the days I'm gonna do a video and show you what we're operating, yeah? I want to thank those of you who have made your donations, yeah? Whatever the size of the donation, we thank you. I'm giving you all the opportunity to call, you know. I had much more clips regarding this issue that I could have played, and I held back on them just to give you all the opportunity to touch base on this one. I think some unfair blame is taking, and what we want, the Grenadian people are not looking for a blame game in relation to this. What we're looking for is for the project to finish. We don't want the blame game. So we don't want the Prime Minister coming out and saying, it's all your fault, and the contractor coming out and saying, Prime Minister, it's all your fault. We know where the fault lies, sort it out. Fix it. Yeah? We know that one, the land acquisition has not taken place. Yeah, the process has not been completed. Payment has not been made because they have not even calculated what the payment is, because the payment, when government does a land acquisition, the payment must be done in accordance with the market value, the present market value. So people can't have a piece of property that is valued at, let's say, $30,000, and you acquire the property as government and they decide you want to pay them 10 for it. No, you've got to pay them at fair market value is what you've got to pay regarding those properties. Yeah? So government has got to pay at market value for the properties. You cannot have a situation otherwise. Right? They have to pay at fair market value. So they are just doing calculations regarding that. A whole year. You telling me they couldn't do that? They published that in the Gazette, which means that you understand that it's important to the project. You published that in the Gazette, and you still didn't have the wherewithal to say, okay, let's go and complete the process. So let's go and let's get the valuation of the property. Let's ensure that the notices are up. Let's do all of that and ensure that it's done properly. I tell you, they find me in a hospital bed in St. Lucia. Quite they go and find me. But they can't find the time to get the acquisition done properly so that Cliff Road can be completed. Grenlec, statutory body under the Ministry of Infrastructure and Works. Nawasa, statutory body under the Ministry of Infrastructure and Works. And you're telling me that the contractor has to hold back and wait and can't proceed because they are not moving poles and lines in a timely manner? All of that is under the Ministry of Infrastructure. The same Prime Minister is the person in charge of all of that. And when they don't do that, you're going to end up with a problem. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, I saw they did it, is Mount Gay? Mount Gay somewhere up there. That somebody go and they pave a road, concrete a road, but they concrete a pole in the road, you know. They didn't even say, well, let me hold off and get Grenlec to come and move the pole. They just concrete around the pole. And the pole is in the road. And I've heard of other instances of that happening. Absolute nonsense. How long does it take Grenlec to say, okay, you'll be out of electricity in this area for the next for 6 hours at this day, or for 10 hours on that particular day, because we are doing moving lines and so on, and to go in there and get the lines moved? How long? And even in some instances, the non-proper acquisition of the property may be affecting that as well, because if you're moving the pole, you have to move the pole where you have permission. You can't take the pole and just dump it on somebody's property. So the government still comes back to the acquisition, that you have to acquire the property properly. If you do not acquire the property properly, Grenlec still can't take the pole and put on the people's place. Nawasa can't take the pipes and put in the people's place. And remember, in some instances, you're speaking about absentee landlords here. You're speaking about instances where some people have died, they have left the country, their family has left the country, and you have to negotiate to them while they're overseas. And you can't step a foot onto their property unless you have the legal authority to do so. And then you want to blame the contractor. Blame the contractor for what? Blame the contractor for what? You are, sir, the worst Minister of Infrastructure in the history of Minister of Infrastructures for the island of Grenada. The worst. Bar none. He don't want nobody bad as you. I said Deacon Pabon. Yeah? And that is why I said to you all supporters of the New National Party, and even though you are not a supporter of the New National Party, make sure that you are a voter of the New National Party. The door is open. We have a country to save. Esupawe, have you checked the voters list? Have you ensured that your voters' ID is up to date? Have you ensured that you've also recruited other folks to vote for the New National Party when the election comes, which is very soon? Don't think them things that take place today take place just so. You're going to hear certain announcements and then you go hear election. Pay attention to what is going on around you. Ministry of Youth trying to launch a new program. NNP had probably 20-something different programs they were doing for youth that were destroyed by the NDC. NDC trying to launch new youth program. I ain't getting the details about it. That's their business to do. But they're now trying to launch it. At the same token, pay attention here. Over the past 6 to 8 weeks, you've realized that the Prime Minister has been trying his best to interact with the young people. You ain't seen him go and hug up them old people as much. The young people. So you realize he's doing his program. He wants young people interviewing him. He wants questions asked of him by young people. The TAMCC students who are the first time voters. Understand the strategy that they're using here. They're going after the youth vote. But the only way that they can secure the youth vote is if you, the parents, you, the uncles, you, the aunts, you, the grandmothers and grandfathers, do not take the opportunity and speak to them young people. The only way they can get the youth vote and the youth support is if you don't inform the young people of the reality that they are living in. Because some of them, you know what it is when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you feel you're invincible. Sometimes you think you know everything. And that is what they're doing right now. So you see a lot of people saying that this man is doing a good job. A lot of the young people, oh, he's doing a wonderful job. And you ask them, compared to what? And they can't answer you. They cannot answer you. Is he doing a good job? Compared to what? He does dress nice. Yeah, but does his dressing nice ensure that if you unfortunately have to go to the hospital now, that you will get proper health care and medication? Does the way that he dresses or the type of shoes he wears ensure that if you want an opportunity to improve yourself, to gain some on-the-job training, that you have that opportunity? No, it does not. That's superficial. We have to deal with things that are more deep and have more depth. Are his actions helping you? In the short term, the long term, the medium term, are his actions and the actions of his cronies helping you? Is the cabal in government doing things that are going to benefit you or benefit them and seem like it benefiting you? You have to ask yourself those questions, and you have to speak to the young people and tell them that. Because they're going all out right now after youth. All out. I'm watching it, I see the play. So you want youth interviewing him. You want youth asking questions of him. They're trying to launch youth program now because we expose the fact that they ain't do nothing in youth, that to fire them. And I'm not talking about the staff, I'm talking about the leadership. Get rid of them. They had to go. Fini. They had to go. So we understand what is taking place. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. The Honorable Emlyn Pear, political leader of the New National Party, cannot do it alone. She needs your help. She needs your prayers, and she needs you to come on board and assist as well. She can't do it alone. The best minister that you probably ever had in relation to youth. I could say that. I worked in the ministry at that time as public relation officer, then as a junior minister in that ministry. And I know her passion. Meanwhile, you have an individual that can't even play cricket, telling people they must play cricket. Anyway, let me leave the cricketing alone. But you have an individual that there that coming out and playing like he's the best thing for youth ever since. And you look at the record of the, well, not even a ministry, because it's been demoted from a ministry. It's been broken down to a division. So it's not that important. They just have a division of youth. Where under the New National Party, you had a ministry of youth that showed interest in young people. Where the New National Party, after every election, has put young people under the age of 40, young people into the parliament, in the Senate. That has been traditional. You saw it in 1999, you saw it in 2003, you saw it even after the loss in 2008, you saw it in 2013, you saw it in 2018, you even saw it in 2022. That is the party of youth. And not youth as in tokenism. Not putting young people to say you have young people, but putting young people because you believe in them and you believe in their capability and their competency. So whether it is deceased Nealon Franklin, who they feel we forget about, but we ain't forgetting, or it is Judd Cadet, or Kalisha Williams, whoever it is. Back in the days, you've had, well, myself, I was under the age of 40 when I went into the Senate as well. Even Honorable Emlyn Pear, when she came in as Senator, the Honorable Emlyn Pear, she was in her 20s, or, yeah, 20s, I believe it was, at that point in time. So it is not a new thing for the NNP. They're joining us now. They want to get into youth. But match up the record of the NNP anytime with their record. So that is why I say, Esupawe, are you ready? The election is not being called by the new national party. It's being called by the National Democratic Congress. Whether NNP ready or not, and NNP ready, but whether NNP ready or not, they will call the election when they believe it is best for them, which means the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We have to be ready and ready at all times. We don't have to wait to hear that we need to check the voters list. Check the voters list. We don't have to wait to hear, check and see if these people on the voters list really should be there. We just have to check it. We have to know that we have to go through and check that. And if I remember correctly, pretty soon we should be having the consolidated voters list for the first quarter of 2026. That should be coming out pretty soon. So we have to pay attention and look out for that one. Folks, that's all the time we have for talking points tonight. I realize all you want to call, so no problem. Yes, so we'll be on tomorrow night with more talking points for you. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to you and with you, and definitely not about you. Love each and every one of you. And remember, you see that? Yeah. Just remember, nice, beautiful.